Imagine you are living in Zimbabwe in the year 2008. You have a job as a teacher and you earn 100 trillion Zimbabwean dollars per month. Sounds like a lot of money, right? Well, not really. Because of hyperinflation, the prices of goods and services are skyrocketing every day. A loaf of bread costs $300 billion, a bottle of water costs $150 billion, and a bus ticket costs $200 billion. You have to carry bags of cash everywhere you go and spend it as fast as you can before it becomes worthless. You can't save any money for the future because it will lose its value in a matter of hours. You can't buy anything online or abroad because no one accepts your currency. You are trapped in a vicious cycle of poverty and despair. This is an extreme example of inflation gone wild. Inflation is the general increase in the prices of goods and services over time. It means that your money can buy less and less as time goes by. Inflation is measured by calculating the percentage change in the price level of a basket of goods and services that represents the average consumption of a household. The most common indicator of inflation is the Consumer Price Index, CPI, which tracks the changes in the prices of hundreds of items such as food, clothing, housing, transportation, healthcare, and education. Inflation is not always bad. In fact, a moderate level of inflation is considered healthy for the economy because it indicates that there is enough demand for goods and services and that the economy is growing. A low and stable inflation rate also encourages people to spend and invest rather than hoard their money, which stimulates economic activity and creates jobs. Most central banks aim for an inflation target of around 2% per year. However, inflation can also be harmful if it is too high or too low. High inflation erodes the purchasing power of money and reduces the real income of people. It also distorts the relative prices of goods and services and creates uncertainty and confusion among consumers and producers. High inflation can also reduce the competitiveness of a country's exports and increase its imports, leading to a trade deficit and a weaker currency. High inflation can be caused by several factors, such as 1. Demand pull inflation. This occurs when the demand for goods and services exceeds the supply, creating a shortage and pushing up the prices. 1. This can happen when the economy is booming or when there is an external shock such as a war or a natural disaster that disrupts the production or distribution of goods. 2. Cost push inflation. This occurs when the cost of production increases due to rising wages, taxes, raw materials, or energy prices. 2. This forces producers to raise their prices to cover their higher costs or to maintain their profit margins. 3. Money supply inflation. This occurs when there is too much money in circulation relative to the output of goods and services. 3. This can happen when the government prints more money to finance its spending or when the central bank lowers interest rates to stimulate the economy. Low inflation or deflation can also be problematic for the economy. Deflation is the opposite of inflation. It is the general decrease in the prices of goods and services over time. It means that your money can buy more and more as time goes by. Deflation may sound good at first glance, but it can have negative consequences such as 1. Reduced spending. When people expect prices to fall further in the future, they may postpone their purchases or save more money instead of spending it. 1. This reduces the demand for goods and services and slows down economic growth. 2. Increased debt burden. When prices fall, the real value of debt increases. 2. This makes it harder for borrowers to repay their loans or interest payments, especially if their income also falls due to deflation. 2. This can lead to defaults, bankruptcies, and financial crises. 3. Lower profits. When prices fall, producers earn less revenue from selling their goods and services. 3. This lowers their profits and may force them to cut costs by reducing wages, employment, or investment. 3. This further reduces the demand for goods and services and creates a downward spiral. Deflation can be caused by several factors, such as 1. Supply-side deflation. This occurs when there is an increase in the supply of goods and services due to technological improvements, productivity gains, or increased competition. 1. This lowers the cost of production and reduces the prices. 2. Demand-side deflation. This occurs when there is a decrease in the demand for goods and services due to recession, high unemployment, low confidence, or tight monetary policy. 2. This reduces the income and spending power of consumers and businesses. 3. Money supply deflation. This occurs when there is too little money in circulation relative to the output of goods and services. 3. This can happen when the government reduces its spending or increases its taxes to balance its budget or when the central bank raises interest rates to curb inflation. As you can see, inflation is a complex and dynamic phenomenon that affects the economy and your life in many ways. It is important to understand the causes and effects of inflation and how to measure it accurately. In the next video, I will talk about how the government and the central bank try to control inflation and what are the challenges and trade-offs involved. Stay tuned and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.